couple of hours we're about to receive the Torah, festival of Shavuot, and the Torah tells us that when our ancestors, at the time of revelation, ויהי קול השופר הולך וחזק מאוד. It was the sound of shofar increase. So here we are on page 26 in Tractate Rosh Hashanah, and the Mishnah begin to tell us all these halachot, good morning, of blowing the shofar. Here the Mishnah speaks about Rosh Hashanah, and just a word of introduction, the entire parak speaks about dinim, about halachot with blowing the shofar. Somehow the previous Mishnah dealt with Kiddush HaChodesh, and it's appeared that belongs to the previous parak. There are some who give explanation, but anyway, the Mishnah said, Kol HaShofarot, meaning all type of shofarot. For example, the one made out of ram and other animals. So he said, Ksherim chutz mishel para. They're all fit for blowing the shofar except for the horn of a cow. So the Ramban explains that it's applied the idea of having a halul, having a hole inside. The other animals, for example, the cow, even Rashi said here, Ben shel ayil, ben shel yael. So ayil, it's a keves zachar, is a male. Yael, it's a type of animal. Chutz mishel para, excluding the cow, that it's not. So the idea is inside. Mipnei shu keren. It's not considering a shofar is just a horn. אמר רבי יוסי, והלא כל השופרות נקראו קרן. The key point of the Jubilee year, when they blow the shofar, שנאמר, they said in the book of Joshua chapter 6, במשוך בקרן היובל, כשומכם את כל השופר. So he said, and it shall come to pass when they sound a long blast with the horn keren of their arm. So here you see clearly that shofar of a ram, it's also called keren. So the key is, the main idea of a jubilee, it's leshon bichra, meaning that's the idea of male. And then the Gemarrah tells us what Rabbanan respond to Rabbi Yossi. Shafir ka'amar Rabbi Yossi. The Gemarrah asks, both call in that language. So Rabbi Yossi said properly to the sages, in a way, para, you don't have it in the Torah. ורבנן כל השופרות יקראו שופר ויקראו קרן. According to the sages, they can respond to Rabbi Yossi that all the shofarot is called in the Torah, they use the word shofar, and it's also called a horn. The para keren ikri, shofar lo ikri. When it's come to a cow, we call it a horn, but we not call it shofar. So therefore, it's not befitting. So where do we find a source that it's also called a horn? The chtiv, because they said in Chumash Dvarim, in Deuteronomy chapter 33, Bechol shoro hadar lo, this is the description of the end of life of Moshe Rabbeinu. He said, Bechol shoro hadar lo, vekarnei rehem karnav. His firstborn bull graduate in his, and his horn are the horns of a wild ox. So you see here that the horn of a bull, it's called keren. So Rabbi Yossi amar lach de para name ikra shofar. It's also called shofar. Dichtiv, they said in Tehillim in Psalm 69, Vetitav laHashem mishor par, and it shall pass, it shall please God better than an ox bull. Im shor lama par, vim par lama shor. So why need both? Ela mai shor par. You divided the word shofar to two words. Mi shofar, meaning the word shor par. It's applied to the Yemei Taniyot, the days, the fasting days, that we blow the shofar. So therefore we go back to our question. If that's the case, so shofar that come out of cows will be fitting. ורבנן כדרב מתנה, דאמר רב מתנה, מהי שור פר? Why they use the word שור פר? שהוא גדול כפר. Meaning that the day that it's called an ox, even a calf that was just born, it's large. The same as a regular ox that is 3 years old. So here they speaks about the early time of creation, that it began with a large one. So there is a well-known text in both here in page 11 we said it, and also there's a Gemarrah in Avodah Zarah 8 that they speak about the first man Adam that brought offering to God. So he brought this ox. So the idea is, at the very early stage of creation, everything was right away, which means you plant a tree, and the next, let's say in our language, a couple of hours you have a full tree or full flowers. That's the era of the creation. So therefore the ox was like the shor par. It's like that ox that born ready, born like, and that's the idea that Ma'im Avodah Zarah said that Adam brought an offering to God. He was just born, right? So the offering was that those animals were born and ready. It's like 3 years old. Ula amar, haynu taman derabanan. This is the reason of the sage. Rav Chizda amar, Rav Chizda mipnei ma en kohen gadol nichnas bebigdei zahav lifnei v'niflim. So here the different reason why we invalidated shofar that made out of cow. He said when the high priest entered to the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur, so he entered with the golden clothing, and he goes lifnei v'lifnim, he goes to the Holy of Holies, la'avod avodah, which means all the 8 days he wore these golden garments, but when it's come la'avod avodah, when it's come to enter to a Holy of Holies, he entered with the white garments. So meaning all the year around, all year around he wore bigdei zahav. Bigdei zahav meaning you have 8 garments. That's golden one. Yep. They have, the idea is that some of the strings, chutei zahav, some of the strings made out of gold.
Right.
In Yom Kippur, at the time that he has entered the Holy of Holies, he wore only 4 garments, and they made, it's called bigdei lavan, they made out of cotton.
White linen, right?
White linen.
Yeah, white linen. Yep.
So you see here, lefi she'ein kategor na'aseh sanegor. That's fascinating. The idea is he entered the Holy of Holies, and he needs to atone for our sins. Now, since gold is a reminder of what? Of golden calf, that our ancestors sinned. So when he entered to atone for the sins of our nation, it's inappropriate to reflect, to remind them of the scenes of the golden calf. So therefore, the same manners the sages forbade the shofar that made out of cow, because it reminds us the calf, the golden calf, that our ancestors committed that sin, and it's incongruous to have this defender in the day of judgment to remind this type of past behavior. So the Gemara said, "Velo, is that incorrect to say that kategor na'asa sanegor?" They said, "Ve'ika dampar," but there is a blood of the bull that is brought there to be sprinkled on Yom Kippur, despite the fact that the Jewish people sinned with the calf. So the Gemara said, "O'il ve'ishtana ishtanei," since it changed, it's not bull itself, it's only its blood, so it's changed. So it's not it's nothing in mind related to the past of golden calf. Va'ika aron ve'kaporet uchruv. Oh, so it's also the art cover and chruv, that it's made out of gold. So again, we focus on the idea of gold, that this stand in the Holy of Holies. Even the Kohen Gadol entered there to atone on Yom Kippur. So they said, "Chote bal yakriv ka'amrinan." So they said only the sinner cannot do it, but the ark and the kruvim, etc., they stand there all the times. It's not the sinner that brings them. Va'ika kafu machta. How about the spoon and the coal pan? So the Kohen Gadol bring it to the Holy of Holies. So they said chote bal yitna'eh ka'amrinan. So he said that it's inappropriate for a sinner to wear something and be proud of that reminds his sins. So this coal and spoon, it's not for beauty, it's for work. So Tosfot said here, "V'gabei shofar mitna'eh name b'kol tkiato." So he said that in a way that when you blow the shofar, it's also the Baal Tokea have some type of joy or pride with the beautiful sound. Ve'aika bigdei zahav mi bachutz. So how about the golden garments that the Kohen Gadol wear on Yom Kippur when he walks outside, when he use the outer altar, even he bring an offering that atone for the sin. So they said, "Mi befnim ka'amrina." So he said that it's specifically for the Holy of Holies. You said these rules that kategor, not sasanigor, but not in outside. Shofar nami mi bachutzu. So they said also the shofar is also outside, it's not brought into the Holy of Holies. So they said, "Keivan delezikaronu kebifnim dami." Since the shofar sounds in order to evoke God remembrance, so they need to remember the people for good and bring the prayer inside, ki bifnim dam, so it's considered like inside the Holy of Holies. So Rabbi Sol Salanter said, when it's come to Baal Tokea, the one who blessed the shofar, it's like a person that entered to a Holy of Holies. The same mindset, the same appealing.
Should be very humble.
Very humble, and also the status in his mind והתנא מפני שהוא קרן כאמר, but we just the Tana taught that the horn of a cow cannot be used because it's a keren. So he said chada ve'od ka'amar. He said that it states one reason and also another reason. The in categor chada, the in categor nasa sadigor, because the prosecutor cannot be an advocate. Ve'od mipnei shu keren, because it's also keren and not shofar. And the Mefarshim said that that's tirutz dachuk, that's hard to accept. Anyway, Rabbi Yossi amar lach, Deka amrat, what you tell me that it's invalid because the persecuted cannot be an advocate, and kategor nase kategor anamile mibefnim, specifically inside the Holy of Holy, but not outside. V'hai shofar mibachutzu, but this shofar, you do it in outer, as so Rabbi Yossi, he is not holding that the blowing the shofar, it's similar, is resonant, the internal walk with the ka'amar mipnei shu keren. You tell me it's because it's keren. Kol ha-shofarot nam me'ikru keren. All the other shofarot are called also keren. So Abaye explains the reason for the sages to invalidate the shofar that's made out of cow. He goes by the third view. He says, Abaye amar aynu tamayu de Rabbanan, the reason for the sages, shofar amar Rachmana. So the Torah tells us in the mitzvah of bless the shofar, one shofar, velo shnayim ushlosha shofarot. Because every time, every shichva, every cover of the shofar, they have another geled, another cover. So when he blessed several, it's like he blessing the several shofar. It's like you're taking shofar and you take another piece from another shofar and you combine them and glue them together, and that's invalid. Because the Torah said it clearly, one shofar. So v'hade para kevan deka'ei gildei mitcheze kenayim u'shlosha shofarot. So he said, you know what happened with the para, the cow, they have many layers, one layer at the top of another layer, so it's appear like more than one, it's appear like two or three. Every part of the cow appear differently in a different time, not one time, and it's clear, you see it. So it's like someone who's attaching a broken shofarot to one another. So therefore, you cannot use it. So we just explained that different reason is because it's keren. So they said chada ve'od ka'amar, meaning there is addition to the essence, the key reason. So it means chada the shofar echad ha'rachmana v'lo shnayim v'shlosha shofarot. First reason is because the Torah said only one and not two or three, combining of. Ve'od mipnei shu keren, that's another reason. Rabbi Yossi amar lach. Rabbi Yossi respond to two ta'anot, the 2 points. Deka amar shofar echad amar rachmana v'lo shnayim v'shlosha shofarot kivan demechabri adad echadu. He says, okay, they combine it in several layers, but now it's one. Udeka amar b'nei shu keren, kol shofarot nam yikru keren. All the other shofarot is called keren. Now, from now on up to the next Mishnah, we're going to have a Hebrew lesson. And yes, we're going to deal with the literal part, even that it's by many Kabbalist rabbis, there is a Sodot Torah, there is a lot of secret, esoteric part of the Torah. But as we said, we are going to deal only with the nigle, only with the clear, simple understanding of the text. So it's like a Hebrew session. How do you know that this language of Jubilee applies to the word ram, dachra in Aramaic? The Tanya, Amar Rabbi Akiva, כשהלכתי לערביה, Rabbi Akiva talk about Arab Peninsula. So I went there. היו קוראים לדיכרה יובלה. They call the ram יובלה, jubilee. ואמר רבי עקיבא, כשהלכתי לגליה, some say that is a France nowadays, others say that it's Italy, what?
Yeah, France, Italy, that's Gaul.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, היו קוראים לנידה גלמודה. They call women in their menstruation lonely. So what's the connection? My galmuda, why is that? So the answer, they said, gmula da. So Rashi said that she's separate, and Tosfot said, "V'nafkamina dibarshin besota ki adat chanef tegalmud." So again, that it's gmula da mibala. Because she's nida, they cannot have relation. ואמר רבי עקיבא, כשהלכתי לאפריקי, when I went to North Africa nowadays, Carthago in those days. So anyway, Carthage. היו קוראים למאה קסיטה. They call that certain coin קסיטה. למאי נפקא מינה. What's the difference? לפרושי מאה קסיטה דאורייתא מאה דנקי. So when the Torah said to us in the Bereshit, Genesis 33, that they use 100 ksita, that's applied to 100 coin. So Maharsha said that it's like 1/6 of dinar. אמר רבי, כשהלכתי לקרחי הים, Rabbi said, when I went to overseas, היו קוראים the sea town, היו קוראים למכירה, they call a sell קירה. למאי נפקא מינה, what's the difference? לפרושי, to explain the will of Jacob to his sons in Bereshit, chapter 50, בקברי אשר קריתי לי בארץ כנען, שמה תגברני. In my grave, which I purchased for myself, there you shall bury me. Which means that's the place that I bought. It's Maaseh Mechira. That's the place that I purchased. Omar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, כשהלכתי לתחום כאן נשריה, is the name of a place, היו קוראים לחלה נינפי. That's the name, the bride. ולתרנגול סחבי. And the rooster, they call סחבי. So now they explain לחלה נינפי מה יקרא. So this is a line in the book of Tehillim in Psalm 48. They said יפה נוף משוש כל הארץ. Beautiful view, the joy of all earth, Mount Zion. Meaning Jerusalem is like a beautiful bride. So living in Jerusalem and being in yeshivot, it's a well-known story about, it's come to mind, about Rabbi Eliezer Lopian. We studied his book the other day. So the story goes that once he came to Chafetz Chaim and he said, it's very hard for me to be the Minister of Finance. I like to sit and study Torah all the day and enjoy the beauty of the study Torah. It's like he quote this pasuk, and I need to travel to collect fund for the yeshiva. So he said, there is a pasuk that said, "Teref natan li re'av, yizkor olam brito." They said that in that Tehillim they said that teref, it's like teiruf, which means that God gave to his people, the people who feared him, a food, but the food has to come toward a labor of spreading the Torah. That's part of the expectations. And the truth is, if you look at the great sages in nowadays, look at Rabbi, for example, I remember Rabbi Shvadron used to travel around the world, or Rabbi Yaakov Galinsky. Those rabbis used to go to places like Mexico.
Sure.
And there's very few observant Jews of those days, and now they're flourishing with Bali Tshuva, etc. So, yes, so the meaning of Yefenov beautiful view and the joy of the whole earth, Mount Zion, it's when other people follow that path of Teshuvah. And that's the obligation. It's not just to collect money for the yeshivot. Uletarnegol sechvi. So they call the rooster sechvi. That's what we said in the morning, the first bracha, right? Asher natan sechvi vina. So אמר רבי יהודה ואמר רבי באיתם רבי שמעון לוי מה יקרא מי שת בטוחות חוכמה ומי נתן לה שכבי בינה. That's in the book of Iyov, Job 38. מי שת בטוחות חוכמה אלו לכליות ומי נתן לה שכבי בינה זה תרנגול. So that's applied to kidney and that's applied to the rooster who knows to crow and fix at fixed time during the night. So it was, I remember one time was a guy that used to sell chickens, and he called his company Sechvi, just to make it a big name. So you use a fancy name so people buy it. So once he went to one of those schools, and he asked teachers, "What does that mean, Sechvi? What is the source for Sechvi?" And very few know the source. Anyway. Levi ikla lau atra. Levi came to the certain place. Ata gavra lekamei va'amar le. Someone, a man said to him, 26b, Kva'an plania. This fellow stole money from me. Lo avayada maika amar le. He doesn't know what does that mean, Kva'an. Ata shel bet midrash. He went to the Beit midrash and he asked. Amrulei, they said Gazlan amar lach. He meant to say that he is a robber, a thief. Dechtiv, because they said in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, Haikba Adam Elokim, etc. So it means that they use the word Ki atem kov'im oti, Haikba, that means gezer. So if you look at the pasuk, they said Haikba Adam Elokim, והמה אין אלוקים כי אתם קובעים אותי ואמרתם בעמק קבענוך מעשרת מעשרות. The idea is that bringing tithe is it's like bringing back to God what belongs to him. So it means that when you helping or giving to the Kohanim, the Leviyim, the all these people in need, the tithe and truma, it's like you're giving to God. So if you do not do that, in our language is like stealing from God. So Amar Lei Rava mi Barnish, it's the name of a place. Leravashi, if I was in that place of Levi, I have the opportunity to explain the word Kav'an without going to ask people in the Beit HaMidrash. Hava amina lei heicha kavach, how he set you up in that place, b'mai kavach, v'amai kavach, mimela avayadina. So, but the answers I know already. What ve'iru savar milta deisura ka'amar le. So, in other words, he thought that that's some type of gilui arayot, and it's not a monetary matter, and therefore he didn't ask those questions. That's the way Marsha explained. Now, here's some example that they want to clarify a certain word in Hebrew. Lo have yadu Rabbanan, the students of Rabbi, didn't know my serugin. So the Mishnah said in Megillah 17 that if you read the Megillah serugin, so Shma'u la'amta devei Rabbi, they listen to the mate in his house, the Chazit Negrabanan, the Avo Aile Piske Piske. So that they see the sages go to his house in groups. Amra la'u, ad matay atem nichasim serugin serugin. Why you come serugin? Why you don't all come in one time? So they understand from her that that's apply that someone reads the Megillah in pieces. Lo avu yad Rabbanan ma'icha gol galot. So that's a tractate Yoma, page 18, that if a person eats it, he can have the discharge. So therefore, you don't give it to the high priest on Yom Kippur, the 7 days before Yom Kippur. Yom achad shmonu olam tadevei Rabbi, dechazit lau gavra, dekamvadar par per chinei. So she saw the maid of Rabbi that she saw a man that spread this green called pag-aaral. Amra lead מתי אתה מפזר לוגך. So that's, they apply to that, nowadays in Ivrit they call it regela. לא אבו ידעו רבנן מהי, what does that mean? They said in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, סלסליה ותרוממך. יום אחד שמו למדת דברי רב, again they listen to people speaking, they know what the meaning. דאבת אמרה לה, וגברא דאבה כמהפך בשערי. So she saw someone makes out of his hair some type of, טלטלים, he make those curls. אמרה לה, על מתי אתה מסלסל בשעריך? For how long you are doing צלסול? So in the esoteric way, it means that you basically deal with the Torah, you mesalsel, you go deep in the Torah, and then the Torah uplifted you. Then, לא אבי עד רבנן מאי, Isaiah said in the prophecy of Babylon, in Isaiah chapter 14, ותא תהיה במטאטא השמד. So, לטאטא or תאטא, it's sweep. It's like you take a broomstick and you sweep. So he doesn't know what is this has to do with the prophecy of Isaiah in regard to future Babylon. יום אחד שמעו לעמתא דבי רבי, דאהבת אמרה לחברתה. One day they hear a maid say to her friend, שכל תאטאתה ותאטא ביתה. Take the broomstick and start sweep the house. So they understand that the person removed all the dirt in his house, so he cleaned it. Was a rabbi in Israel, Rav Yosefi, it's one of the great rabbis. He has the privilege to marry all of his children. So it's a minhag. Some say it's a Hungarian minhag, some say that it's a Yerushalayim minhag. But the minhag, when a person's marry his last child, so they take a broom and they dance with the broom. So he was very strongly opposed that. He said it doesn't make any sense. It's just imrot feilot. It's just something that. So a fellow came to him and he said that he's a midrash. The midrash said that if God forbid someone have to bury his child, or someone suffer from loss either way, or the children, not the parents, so they use that phrase that ותאתיה במטאטא השמד. That means that the person not fulfill his dream to see the next generation carry on. So in a way that's like midrashic way to say that using a broom is like that curse, Isaiah curse, applied to the broom and not apply to me, God forbid. So therefore, that's the reason for that minhag, to dance with that broom. Anyway, לא אהבו יד רבנן, מאי אשלך על השם יאהבך והוא יכלכלך. They said in Psalm 55, השלך אל השם, that meaning cast your load upon God and he will sustain you. What does that mean? אמר רבא בבר חנא יום אחד ואזנינא בעד ההוא תיעא. One day I was next to an Ishmaelite there, and the havadarina tuna, that he carries a load on his shoulder. ואמר לי יאשכול יהבך ושדי הגמלי. Take unloaded your materials and put it on my camel. So it means that yehavcha, meaning that you load, cast you load, it means that trust God and He will take care of you. So the Vilna Gaon explained, it's a big question, many times people ask, how far you need to do ishtadlut, how far you need to leave it to God. So based on that text in Proverbs, it's called midat bitachon, how much you trust. He said, here is a good example. That this fellow who owned the camel, he approached him and asked him to put the staff on his camel, which means you have a stage that you need to carry, another stage that you ask someone. Or the best is if someone else come without you asking and ask you to put it on his camel. So he said that's applied according to Vilna Gaon, that the person leave those worried to Hashem. The Torah tells us as a mitzvah to bless the horn during the festivals. Now the Mishnah, this upcoming Mishnah, dealing with blessed of the shofar in the Beit HaMikdash, in the Holy Temple, doing festivals. So in Beit HaMikdash they used to bless the shofar together with blowing the shofar and bless the horn together. They did the same on the public fasting day. So it's a mitzvah to blow the shofar also on Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement, in the Jubilee year. The Torah said in Leviticus 25, "V'ha'avarta shofar tru'a," you should bring the blessed of the shofar, b'chodesh hashvi'i, at the 7th month, which is the month of Tishrei, be'asor lachodesh, at the 10th of the month, b'yom ha'kippurim ta'aviru shofar b'chol artzechem. Then Yom Kippur you should bring the shofar. So now the Mishnah explained to us the differences between the blessed of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, the first day, and the Jubilee. Shofar shel Rosh Hashanah. When we bless the shofar on the day of judgment, the first day of the year, that's the shofar that are blessed at the Beit HaMikdash. Shel Yael Pashut. It was made out of straight of Yael ibex. What is called Yael?
Yeah, ibex.
Ibex.
Yep.
And it was straight, simple. Ufiv.
Well, here they just interesting. And here they translate it as just a wild goat.
Wild goat. Okay.
Yep, so
wild goat.
Yep.
So you see at the beginning of Tosfot, Ramban, and Ritva, that when you speak about Yael Pashut, the straight wild goats, so Yael is called Zcharim Kfufim. It's male and it has to be bent. According to Rashi, the key is not the idea of those Yael, those goats, but the idea is pashut or kafuf, that it's a basic or band one. But according to Tanakama, we need to, the Gemarrah later explains. So they said, ufiv metzupe zahav, they put close to where is the lips, in the mouth, for honor of festival. They made it gold, plated with gold. Ushtei chatzotzot min hatzdadim. They have 2 trumpets in both sides. As we said, b'chatzotzot v'kol shofar hariu lifnei hamelech Hashem. So you need to have both. Shofar ma'arich v'chatzotzot mekatzrot shemitzvat hayom b'shofar. The shofar sound long blast. The trumpet was short one. Why? Because the key mitzvah on the day of judgment applies to shofar. Now, it's a biblical. When it's come to trumpet, it's rabbinic. Ubeta'aniyot, when is a public fast day. So in Beit HaMikdash they used to blast Beshel Zcharim, made out of male, which is a ram. Kfufim, which means a band.
What do you mean? What is that word you're saying?
Kfufim.
Kfufim.
Band?
Bent.
Yes.
Oh, bent. Okay.
Bent, that it's not straight.
Yeah, it's like the
Okay.
spiral
See it?
kind, yeah.
Spiral.
Okay.
Later the Gemarrah explains that it's act of humbleness before God. That you come and you bend yourself before God.
So is that more like the Yemenite?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. The ones
Just,
that,
yes, the big one.
Right.
The one that some people like to blow. Anyway.
I noticed, and I've seen historic shforot with the silver and gold adornment, but you never see that nowadays with gold on them. Is there a reason why we don't?
We're just about to learn it.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Upihen mitzupei kesef, that the mouth was covered with gold, with silver, ushtei chatzotzrot, so the two trumpets that combined with blasting the shofar, ba'emtza, so it was in the middle. So unlike Rosh Hashanah, it was only one. First day they used to have two, in order to have this trumpet in the middle, meaning Tosfot said that the essence of the day is trumpet.
Shofar, right?
No, trumpet, in the public fast day.
On the fast days you're talking about,
yes,
okay.
Yes. Ba'emtza, then he said, Shofar mekatzer v'chatzotzrot ma'arichot. So shofar is short and the trumpet is long. Shemitzvat hayom b'chatzotzrot. So because it's a biblical, the idea of using trumpet, and the blast of the shofar, it's rabbinic. So you see here that there are four differences between Rosh Hashanah and the public fast day. Let's analyze it. Even the Beit HaMikdash, they use both. Number one, what type of shofar? Rosh Hashanah, you have to have Ya'el. In Taniyot, you have to have Ayil Kafuf, a ram that's bent. Number two, Rosh Hashanah, Peh, the mouth part, has to be golden cover. Fast day, it has to be silver cover. Number three, Rosh Hashanah, the essence of the shofar is in the middle, and the trumpet was on the sides. In the fast day, good morning, it's the opposite. Two shofarot, it's on the side, and the trumpet, it's in the middle. Number four, Rosh Hashanah, shofar, it's a long blast, and the trumpet is short, because the essence of the mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah is the shofar, versus the fast day, the shofar is the long one, the trumpet is the long one, and the shofar is the short one, because the mitzvah is by the trumpet. Rashi tells us here that the mitzvah of the trumpet is to gather, le'akhil et ha'edah, to gather the people. The Gemarrah said that chatzotzrot, the trumpets made the silver, it's like the Moshe Rabbeinu in the Torah, that he's gathered the Eidah, the people. The Rambam, he tells us that in Perush HaMishnayot, he says that the Pasuk tells, V'chitavo milchama be'artzechem, when you enter to a domain of war, new land. So he said, in any time of sorrow, b'chol tzara, chatzotzrot mazkir, the trumpet reminded before God, and that's part of the ta'anit, the first day. Shaveh Yovel לראש השנה על התקיעה. Jubilee is equal to Rosh Hashanah as far as the blowing the shofar. So, because they're using a Ya'el Pashut in both Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Vela Brachot. So the same ways that we have in doing Musaf of Rosh Hashanah 9, the third of the Amida, and the third, the last, in the middle we have Kingdom, Remembrance, and Shofarot. It's the same as Yom Kippur, the Jubilee, that it's a 9 brachot. Rabbi Yehuda אומר בראש השנה תוקעים בשל זכרים וביובלות בשל יעלים. Rabbi Yehuda said that he disagreed. He says there is a difference between these 2 days. In Rosh Hashanah, one blows the horn of rams, and the Jubilee years they blow with horn of a what is called it? Ibex.
Wild goats.
Or wild goats. So the idea is that one is kafuf, one is pashut. Anyway, Omar Rabbi Levi, מצווה של ראש השנה ושל יום כיפורים בכפופים. Rabbi Levi disputed, and he said the mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah and Kippur of the Jubilee year is to have the curved shofar. V'shekol Hashana kipshutim. And the entire year it's like the basic one, the straight shofar. So some poskim said that that's to remember Zeicher le'elo shel Yitzchak, the commemorate the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. Ve'atnan shofar shel Rosh Hashanah shel El Pashut. He just said that the blood of Rosh Hashanah should be in a straight horn of a ibex. So they said, Hu de'amar k'ha'itana k'Rabbi Yehuda detnan. So matching Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda אומר ראש השנה תוקעים בשל זכרים כפופים וביובלות בשל ילי. So why you need to say it? ולמה הלכתה כרבי יהודה? Why you need to repeat it? So it looks like a שיטה עצמאית, as his own view. היא אמרת הלכתה כרבי יהודה איף, רבי לוי סלד הלכה היה קודם כרבי יהודה, הווה מן אפילו בשל יובל נעמה כרבי יהודה סביר עליה. You may think that this jubilee is also, you need to use the Yael Pashut, the regular one, on Yom Kippur, Kamash Melas, and then Levi wants to teach us, no, that he is not hold the same halacha as Rabbi Yehuda, only the shofar that used for Rosh Hashanah, that you used a curved one. But Yom Kippur and Jubilee, he says that he's not here, he hold that used the kafuf, the curved one. So now, the Gemara wants to know the reason of this disputation between Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda. What is the debate? What is the disputation? Beautiful. One said, on Rosh Hashanah, the more the person bend to Hashem, bow down, subjugate his heart and mind to God, it's better. So therefore you have the symbol of curve, of bent, right? To imply that the person should do teshuvah and tefillah, right? That pray and do teshuvah, return to God. Yom Kippurim in the Jubilee year that expresses the freedom of the slaves, that's act of happiness. Kama de pashit inishdatei tfei me'ale. So use a basic shofar, it's the opposite. Umar Savad Rosh Hashanah kama de pashit inishdatei tfei me'ale. Meaning that the person should not have any bending in his heart, should be straight. So therefore you use the pashut. Ubetaniyot, when the first day that is a sorrow reflect upon people, kama de chayif inishdatei tfei me'ale, that the opposite. Then you need to have a bent shofar that's expression of subjugation of the heart. The Shulchan Aruch Orachaim 586. The shofar of Rosh Hashanah should ideally be of a ram horn. Taz, according to the Taz, is not obligatory, but the best possible form of fulfilling the mitzvah. Halachically, all shofarot are fit except for those of a cow and a bull, which are unfit since they are called keren, not shofar. It's important to know that when it's come to shofar, the Rambam said in Ilchot Shofar, the first parak, that on Rosh Hashanah in Beit HaMikdash, in the temple, they will sound one shofar, and there were two trumpets on its sides. The shofar will sound a long blast, whereas the trumpets will sound a short blast, because the mitzvah of the day is the mitzvah of blowing the shofar. We talk the mitzvah of bekfufim, that the shofar need to be curved. So that's Shulchan Aruch Orachaim 586. On Rosh Hashanah, it is a mitzvah to blow with the shofar made from a curved horn or a ram. The halacha, those halachot concerning the beautification of the mitzvah apply to this shofar. Therefore, if there is a difference in price between a shofar made from a curved horn of a ram and a simple shofar, one is required to add up to 1/3 of the cost of a simple one. That's the Beit Chadash. A shofar from other types of domesticated animals, such as the horn of a goat, is preferable to one from the ibex or other undomesticated animal. That's the taz. A curved shofar, even the one of the ibex, is preferable to straight shofar, even if it is a shofar of a sheep. Now that's the Mishnah Berurah. We have to remember the last statement of the Gemarrah, that the whole idea is to bend a person's mind, meaning to the person to humble himself, and that's the symbol of the shofar.
ויחם לשולוים מלאכי השולוים מלאכי